Hello, I'm Judith Renton and I'd like to share a few thoughts with you from Matthew chapter 18 verses 21 to the end. And I'm reading it in the different version. It's called The Bible for Everyone, written by Tom Wright. The title is The Challenge of Forgiveness. Then Peter came to Jesus. "Master," he said, "how many times must I forgive my brother when he sins against me? As many as 7 times?" "I wouldn't say 7 times, replied Jesus. "Why not 70 times 7? So you see," he went on, "the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle up accounts with his servants. As he was beginning to sort it all out, one man was brought before him who owed 10,000 talents. He had no means of paying it back, so the master ordered him to be sold, with his wife and children and everything he possessed, and payment to be made. So the servant fell down and prostrated himself before the master. 'Please be patient with me,' he said, 'and I'll pay you everything.' The master was very sorry for the servant and let him off. He forgave him the loan. But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 dinars. He seized him and began to throttle him. 'Pay me back what you owe me,' he said. The colleague fell down and begged him, 'Be patient with me and I'll pay you.' But he refused, and he went and threw him into prison until he could pay the debt. So when the fellow servants saw what had happened, they were very upset. They went and informed their master about the whole affair. Then his master summoned him. 'You're a scoundrel of a servant,' he said. 'I let you off the whole debt because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have taken pity on your colleague like I took pity on you?' His master was angry and handed him over to the torturers until he'd paid the whole debt. And that's what my heavenly Father will do to you unless each of you forgive your brother or sister from the heart." Now, we've just moved house, and I've spent quite a bit of time clearing out stuff ready for the move or to go to a charity shop. The trouble is, I am a little bit of a hoarder. It's hard letting go of things, and I have a number of boxes that we've brought with us that I just couldn't let go of. Letting go is hard. The Bible passage I read starts with a question about letting go of hurts and annoyance, and forgiving someone who has wronged you. Jesus suggests we really should keep on forgiving people who have wronged us, and keep on doing it. It seems a really tall order, doesn't it? It can be much easier to hang on to our hurt feelings than to pardon someone and let them go. Of course, for some things, like abuse, it is different. Jesus isn't talking about those kinds of situations. But I don't think Jesus was only talking about us forgiving others. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves. I've spoken to many people recently who are feeling guilty or bad about themselves, feeling rubbish because they feel they're not being a good enough teacher for their kids during lockdown, feeling guilty because they've not seen a friend or a family member who has been ill and now they've died and they haven't seen them, or feeling ashamed that they feel they haven't done enough gardening or redecorating or something during lockdown because they felt so devoid of energy. I know there's many things I could have done and said throughout lockdown, and I haven't done them, and I know what those feelings are like. We can hang on to our guilt and not forgive ourselves as much as not forgiving others. It is torturous to hold on to the bitterness, anger and resentment when we hold a grudge. Torturous to us, ourselves. Thank goodness we have a God who loves us as we are, even with our messy, broken, lethargic lives. God sees us as precious, beautiful treasures. God sees you as a precious, beautiful treasure. The late Mike Yaconelli said in his book, Messy Spirituality, Spirituality is not about being fixed. It is about God being present in the midst of our unfixedness. Maybe if we see ourselves as God sees us, we can be more gentle and forgiving to ourselves. I wonder if the servant in the story had really realised just how much he was loved and how forgiven that he was. Maybe, if so, he might not have been so harsh on his workmate. We need to feel that extravagant, limitless nature of God's forgiveness in order to show it to others. As we learn to accept the fact that we're accepted by the Creator as we are, then we are in a much better place to follow Jesus' instructions to forgive and understand others who have let us down.